I'm Max Sterling. Welcome to LarpMix. So, I know there's a lot of different ways to define a LARP, and there's tons of different kinds of LARPs, but something I find myself running into with American Boffer style LARPs is a huge fear of missing out. And we talk about FOMO in many things, but at LARP I feel it's definitely a thing. And American Boffer LARPs, if you've seen my video where I walk around and wear the step tracker, I cover maybe 27 miles plus at an event. And mostly the reason I move so much is because of, FOMO. There are modules, there's plots, there's stories, there's plot hooks. They hide things in the woods. There's people walking around that you can encounter, and just tons of adventure-related things. But the problem is, if you sit down for dinner, you sit under a tree to relax for a minute, you talk with some friends, fellow adventurers, you could be missing that next big thing. Now, in a game where the economy is strong and things are good, there's lots of magical items and items, spread out amongst people, the FOMO may not be as severe. But if you play a game with a broken economy, where money is really hard to get, items are incredibly hard to get, then that FOMO becomes incredibly real and a pressing issue. The game starts to feel more like you're just waiting in a lobby for a battle to begin, as opposed to you're adventuring in this living world. And a lot of these sort of Lord of the Rings, medieval fantasy, Nero, Accelerant, Nero clone type games that I've been to, you feel like you always have to be doing something. Like you'll complete a story or plot and you come back to the tavern and you're immediately looking for the next one. You fix your armor, you'll count your money or whatever, and you're immediately looking for the next thing to do. And, it really creates an issue with how do I just relax at a game? That's great, there's a lot of stuff going on, but what if I just want to relax and enjoy the moment? Listen to these birds screaming in the background. Listen to the rolling river over here. Eat an apple under a tree. I don't know, anything. It's tough to do that at these type of games. Now, you may play a game where it's all battle and you just wait basically for battles to begin. You play on like a soccer field or something, and you do a battle, you rest for an hour, you do a battle, you rest for an hour, stuff like that. If you play those type of games, then you probably don't really have that big fear of missing out, unless things are double booked. And really what this video is about is how do you overcome that? Because you can't do everything. And you really need to decide, is rushing around and making this more like a day job or a grind, is it really worth it in the end? Or are you here to sort of experience nature and just enjoy sort of the relaxation of, playing a character and having fun with friends? And if your idea of fun is, a mile a minute, all these battles, that's fine. But I think you should still consider building in some time where you can just sort of stop and smell the roses, so to say. And one thing that I find helps me, because right now, obviously, I'm taking a minute, I'm at a game, I'm just sort of relaxing here. I'm completely alone, at least I think. That's why I'm looking around and I make sure that no one's going to jump up and stab me in the back. But, I'm just chilling out, relaxing. And although there's no one else here, I think this is good for my character, and it's also good for me to just sort of get a break from that 9 to 5 daily grind that's out there. And I think if you haven't done it in the past, you should consider trying it at one of your games. Just, even if you know something's going on, just take a minute, take a little walk in the woods, sit under a tree, maybe take some people with you, tell a story, bring a little bit of food or something, and hang out. Because I know there's a lot of people that don't do that. And you may be saying, well, I definitely do that, Max. And that's good for you, and I hope that that's helpful and that you have, an immersed, enjoyable experience. And if you do already do it, leave a comment below. But if you get sort of what I'm saying about, you're always afraid you're going to miss that next magic weapon, or you're going to miss out on getting a couple gold coins, then I would suggest just letting it go. And I'm not going to break out in the song, but just let it go and just sit back and enjoy. Because I think that part of the immersion and part of the immersive experience is actually just being immersed in the environment, your surroundings, you know, taking a breath, you know, just sort of looking around, seeing what's going on. Because if there's one thing I can tell you for sure, is that there's always more monsters, there's always more treasure, and there's always more items to find. And if you get back to town after you've been out wandering in the woods or wherever you play, then maybe you can still get involved in things that you missed out on. But if you can't, you know, just don't worry about it. You know, there's something else that will come along and you can be involved in that. But I suggest taking just a little bit of time out of that day when you go to these events to just sort of relax and enjoy yourself outside of maybe what dinner would be. Because if you eat like an immersed dinner, or if it's a hassle to prepare and stuff, just take a little bit of me time for your character and you know, just sort of enjoy the moment. You know, if you smoke, you know, you have a pipe or whatever, you know, go sit under a tree and do that. If you want to have a drink, eat a little bit of food, you just want to sit there and smell the roses, you know, get your phone out, take a couple selfies. I don't know, that's not really immersed, but you know, it's a good photo op for you. Do something like I'm doing right now. But as soon as I turn this camera off, I'm still just going to sit here for probably 10 or 15 minutes and just sort of, you know, take in the environment and really sort of almost meditate on things that are about to happen, because I know I'll be fighting here shortly. But right now in this moment, I'm my character and I'm enjoying the peace between the battles, that sought after time where after the wars are done and the evildoers have been vanquished, where you can just sit down on your bench and just relax and kick back and enjoy the spoils. And you know, hopefully you forget what I'm saying. If you don't, that's fine. Maybe your game is already good. You don't have that fear of missing out that a lot of people do, I believe. And if you're like me, you know, the best thing you do is just take a deep breath, relax for a minute, find a good place to chill. If you play at the same camps all the time, you can find that good place for you, maybe a log, and sit there. And there's nothing more fun for me than when I'm just sitting out in the woods somewhere and someone happens upon me and finds me just sitting there relaxing. Now, hopefully, you know, they're not going to try to fight me, but if they want to sit down and talk, that's great. And I hope that, you know, you can agree with what I've said here. And I hope that if you're like me, that maybe this video helps a little bit. And if not, that's fine too. But if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Consider watching other videos that I have. I have a ton of them. And of course, as always, adventure on.